as sin haast an y lachgasau agus sin bryd y dynia ac efo cainer náte agus mar a hair arach ag haris na bliona. Chwlan am tjena se agus chanawn y lachgasau haif o hús a chair yn siwn o'i cores lechit bliona yn fosta Catriona Macleod. Catriona, I'm going to speak to you in English because you don't come from Laxey originally at all, do you?
No, I don't. No.
Where do you come from?
Well, I was born in Glasgow, but I lived down in the north of England till I was 5. And then my father, he was in the Royal Navy, and we moved up to Glasgow. And I left Glasgow when I was about 25. Mm-hmm. We came up here in 1971.
You came up here in 1971, mm-hmm. But it wasn't a complete culture shock for you, was it?
Yes, no. My grandmother was living then in Liskintyre, and we spent, as soon as the school closed, we were taken up to Liskintyre, and we had the 2 months of the school holiday running wild, barefooted in Liskintyre. And when I would go back to Glasgow, I was as brown as a berry, mm-hmm. compared to the poor children in Glasgow who had never even had a holiday.
Can you remember your first sight of Laxey?
Well, I was used to seeing Laxey driving through it from coming off the ferry, the old Loch Seaford, driving through in the old Mitchell's bus through to the road end at Liskintyre every year. But I never thought I would end up living in Laxey until I met my husband in Glasgow. Mm-hmm. And I met him, it was actually an Isla Gathering concert, Ceilidh dance, and I was handing out the programmes, selling programmes, and that's where I met Torco, mm-hmm. when I was 15. But I wasn't allowed to go out with him till I was 17. Uh-huh. So we married in Glasgow when I was 20. And 2 years later we had my daughter, and then 2 years after that we had my son. And we moved up here when my son was only 2. So the 2 children were really brought up here, and my son considers himself a lochie, you know.
Do you?
Yes, oh yes. Yeah, I mean, I loved it. As soon as I arrived, I just fitted in. And I never liked city life. I think it was because I was, you know, as I say, lived for 5 years down in the Sharp Fells, and it was rolling hills, and you know, so when I came back to Glasgow as a 5-year-old, it was a real culture shock, and I never forgave my father for taking me up there. So I was the one that actually, how we arrived up here was, I used to come up a couple of weeks before Torco stopped work. They stopped for, you know, the Glasgow Fair fortnight. I would fly up with the children, with Murdy Hjordy's wife and I were great pals, still are, and they were in Glasgow then, and Lena and I would fly up a fortnight ahead of the boys for our holidays. And then Torkel and Murdy would come up the long way on the ferry. So anyway, this year I said to Torkel, when I go home, I'm going to look for a job for you. So I did. And I spoke to a few people, and then I went and I saw the buller, and I told him Torkel was joining, that we wanted to move up to the island. So he told me to tell him when he was up for his holiday to come, and he would give him an interview. So Torkel got the interview and got the job. So Torkel remained here. I took the 2 children, went back to Glasgow and put our house on the market and sold it and moved up.
Well,
so it was me that wanted up.
Sure, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? And well, you name in the passing there, the Buller, Jimmy Buller.
That's
right. Stornoway Builders, and was speaking the town at that time, and that meant you had a job. But then it's one thing saying you'd love to come up here. It's one thing coming for holiday here, but then you land here.
Yeah. And
you're here. Mm-hmm. What was that like?
Well, as I said, you know, to me it was, you know, a big adventure. We actually rented from Cushybell Ned, that was further down in the village. She was working in the hospital, and she only used her own home 1 day a week, and she offered us, you know, to rent that, and we did, and we built the house that I'm sitting in just now. My husband built it, and it went up quite quickly. So we were in our own home within 2 years of moving up.
What was it like for young children being brought up here?
Oh, it was,
Your own children?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, they loved it. They thrived in it. And you never had a moment's worry. I mean, you never worried about the children going out of sight, as long as they didn't go down to the shore. But as they grew up, I took them and I taught them to swim, and, you gave them those safeguards. But no, they absolutely thrived. And I never, ever for one moment, even now, and I've been 11 years now on my own since Torco died, and I've never ever wanted to go back. I mean, I could not settle back into city life at all,
Laxey, though, what was Laxey itself like?
Oh,
Your neighbours, who were your neighbours?
Laxey was thriving. We had more people than we had houses to begin with, compared to today. It's reversed. But everybody was in and out of each other's houses. I would go carrying on my own. Torco would stay in an evening with the children, and I would go way over the hill, over the village, way down to Dans and Muddy Hjordes and Muddy Ardes, and I would come home at 1 o'clock in the morning and think nothing of walking on my own through, just with a torch in my hand, through the village. There was no fears or any kind of danger, And like that, I would start from one house and I'd be popping in and out of different houses all the way around, and that's what we did. And even our own house here, I suppose we were considered one of the young ones, the youngest of the married ones. And there was no youth clubs or anything like that. So we had welcomed the younger ones, the young teenagers into our home. And I was always baking and whatnot. And Torco was right into his football, and the boys used to come and they would play darts and they would play cards. And, my children were very young, of course. So after a while, Torco actually went and kind of trained up to be a youth leader, and we got the hall out there and started the first youth group in Laxey, because there wasn't anything, really for the youngsters. So we really enjoyed it, the whole, everything about it. But it's changed so much now. I mean, you don't have that camaraderie with people, and folk jump into the car and they go from A to B, and they're on their phones and whatnot. And you're lucky if you actually have your neighbours. I mean, even the ones round about, they've all gone, they're dead. They were much older than I when I came here. And I miss them. I miss the elderly people. I really do miss the elderly people, because I used to love going in and sitting and listening to their stories. And I would really draw out of them, and particularly my father-in-law. I was very, very close to my father-in-law, Torco Moore. And he had been in Argentina too. So I loved getting all these stories. I probably know more about him than his own family do, because I questioned him and I spent a lot of time with him right up until I nursed him until he died. So,
what was he doing in Argentina?
He was with the sheep. He was a shepherd there, and I've got a photo somewhere of him. And he was herding about 1,000 head of sheep. And they slept under the stars, and they slept under, rugs that the local women used to make of, what was the name of the wee animal? I can't remember the name.
Alpacas, was it?
It was a fur, and they were made into rugs that they slept under. And so it was just like, I was fascinated, because it was like a real live cowboy you were talking to. You lived on horseback and you slept under the stars, under this rug, So all these things were very, good and exciting to listen to.
You said you started the youth club. Tell me about that.
Well, we had it out here in the village, and the boys and the girls, they all came together. And I used to go out. Torco, would take them to other youth clubs, that they would exchange things, and then I would go out and collect the money, and I would make the cups of tea and hand out chocolate biscuits and whatnot. And then I used to you know, be with the girls, or Torquay was maybe the boys, doing different things and teaching them different things and playing games and whatnot. So we did that until, in fact, they've all grown up now. You know, Johnny and all of those. They were the youngsters when we came here, and then we saw them. We were at all their weddings and whatnot. So, and they've all kind of gone their own way now. But it's lovely when you see them all again. You know, you still look on them as friends and whatnot.
What, from your perspective, has been the biggest change or changes in Laxey since you came here over 50 years ago?
Well, I think, as I say, there's many more houses, and we've lost so many of the older people, and that their homes have been sold or people have moved. And the incomers, I mean, there's some the incomers down the other end of the village I haven't even met yet, and they've been down there for years. So there's not the same, you know, whether it's because they don't have the connection, you know, to the island, that there's, in a sense, they are incomers, that they're not mixing as well as maybe we would have. And you don't like to impose on people that you don't know the way we would have charged into somebody's house before. So that's what it's like. That's the biggest difference.
Is Laxey in 2023 a good place to live?
Oh yeah, yes. There's still good people here. And I mean, even the young ones, you know, although there's not so many youngsters, we're lacking in young people as they are, I think, the whole of the country, really. We're losing, you know, the people aren't producing so many children, let's say. But there's still, you know, the children are lovely. They're lovely children, but there's not that many of them. So that's the only thing. Because, I mean, I was 79 yesterday, so next year I'm in my 80th year, so I'm one of the old ones. That'll soon be on the way out. And sometimes, mind you, when I see what's going on in the rest of the world, I think I'll be glad to get out of it rather than coming into it for the first time. But no, I've always enjoyed being here in Laxey, and I've always, you know, loved the Laxey people.
Well, thank you very much indeed for these reminiscences of Laxey.
Very welcome.
And it's been really nice to hear them. And to hear them from the perspective of somebody who hasn't been here all their lives, but has spent a great number of years here. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.